There is a moment after fear has tried to stop you, after doubt has tried to confuse you, after guilt has tried to shame you, after confusion has tried to blur you, after manipulation has tried to control you. When the final internal enemy rises, a voice that doesn't attack your courage, doesn't attack your clarity, doesn't attack your conscience, doesn't attack your freedom, it attacks your heart. This voice says, but I care about them, but I invested so much, but I don't want to hurt anyone, but I don't want to lose this. This voice doesn't pull you backward, it ties you there. This is episode 7, The Voice of Emotional Attachment. Emotional attachment is not evil, it is human, it is natural, it is real. But emotional attachment becomes dangerous when it begins to override obedience. Attachment ties your heart to memories, investments, hopes, expectations, emotional comfort, and imagined futures. Attachment doesn't ask, is this God's will? Attachments ask, can I handle letting this go? Attachment doesn't ask, is this healthy? Attachment asks, what will I feel if I walk away? Attachment doesn't ask, what is God saying? Attachment asks, what will this cost me emotionally? Attachment's goal is simple. Keep your heart tied to what God is removing. Let's anchor this battle in Scripture because the Word shows us how God deals with emotional ties that hinder obedience. Hebrews 12, verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Attachment collapses under surrender. Jeremiah 23, verse 3. And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries, whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. God gathers his people. He does not leave them scattered in emotional bondage. Attachment collapses under restoration. Psalm 73, verse 25. Whom have I in heaven but thee? And there is none upon earth that I desire beside thee. Attachment collapses under devotion. These passages reveal emotional attachment is a weight, not a weapon. Emotional attachment becomes bondage when it overrides obedience. Emotional attachment collapses under surrender, restoration, and devotion. Attachment is powerful, but is not permanent. Let's break down how emotional attachment operates when God calls you to walk away. Attachment magnifies memories, making the past look better than it was. Attachment romanticizes investment, making you feel obligated to stay. Attachment exaggerates loss, making obedience feel too costly. Attachment distorts loyalty, making walking away feel like betrayal. Attachment creates emotional fear, making you afraid of the feelings that come with obedience. Attachment strategy is not to stop you, it's to bind you. Because bound obedience is not obedience, it is emotional captivity. Now, let's talk about what happens when attachment rises and how God responds. Attachment says, but I care about them. God says, cast your cares on me. Attachment says, but I invested so much. God says, your treasure is in heaven. Attachment says, but I don't want to hurt anyone. God says, obedience is healing, not harm. Attachment says, but I don't want to lose this. God says, what you lose in obedience, I restore in purpose. Attachment says, but this is familiar. God says, I'm calling you into freedom. Attachment is emotional, but God is eternal. Attachment is sentimental, but God is sovereign. Attachment is binding, but God is liberating. Before we transition to the series closing, let's summarize what we've uncovered. Recap of episode 7. Emotional attachment rises last. Attachment attacks your heart. Attachment ties you to what God is removing. Attachment exaggerates loss. Attachment distorts loyalty. Attachment collapses under surrender, restoration, and devotion. Attachment binds, but God frees. Now that all 7 internal enemies have been exposed, fear, doubt, guilt, confusion, manipulation, and attachment, the final step is to bring them together in the closing message, the clean break. If this episode helped you confront emotional attachment, share it with someone who needs courage to release what God is removing and step into what God is restoring.